guys, this is not what we're doing, but I'll just show you this firstly. These are the Artisan range at the moment. There's 30 colours. Now I'm showing you this just to show you the base of what I have to work with in Artisan. Now there is actually no reason to deviate from this. The colour range is pretty amazing. But I just want to show you something on these. I've been painting these swatches up so that I can offer swatch sets for people who want to be able to see the whole range. But I'll just show you something with these just to make one example. Like when you go to choose colour, it's very, very difficult to choose colour without a sample, but it depends on what colour, where the colour is going to go. I see a lot of comments, questions in forums that says, what colour should I choose? What colour should I paint this? And really the question should be, where is that going to go? What colours do you like? What colours don't you like? And what is it going to go with? Because they're more a determining factor than what colour should I pick. For example, if you were to pick a blue, there is so many different blues, and you may have heard people talk about cool and warm colours. There is a huge variation you can get in colour for a certain look, and you will find that you tend to go for either more warm or more cool colours. That doesn't mean you like reds and oranges and yellows, or you like blues. You know, it actually, you might like warmer blues and cooler blues. So there are differences. So with the navy here, if you hold the Riviera Haze against the navy, if you take a look at those, that's almost like, they're very similar in a blue, but if I was to put the navy against the Côte d'Azur, it's more aqua. I know that they're fairly, as far as tone, that one's a bit lighter, but can you see how that stands out more against that? Even though that one's lighter, that one pops against that. So colours will blend in together more easily, or kind of not fight each other, but they'll pop against each other. So if you want drama and you want things to stand out, if you choose colours that pop against each other, that can make your work more dramatic. So for instance, if you understand opposite colours, that helps. So basic in opposite colours, I mean, this is as colour theory as I'm going to go with you. Yellow, the opposite of yellow is purple, right? So they're complementary colours. You can put them together, but they will pop against each other. If I was to put that purple near a warm, what's the warmest blue? Probably this one's the warmest blue. You see how they kind of blend in more? But if I was to put it against a cooler blue, they jump. So colours will play against each other, and it's the same with in your house when you pick a white. It's really tricky to pick a white. So we've got 3 whites here. These are the lightest whites of L'Essential, right? Now, I don't know if you can see this in the camera, but Arctic White is the white, and that's what I'll be using mainly to mix today, because it's like a pure white, and there'll be no influence of the white in the colour when I show you. Then there's Parchment and Travertine. These ones are warmer. These are got like a little bit more yellow in it. They're not yellow, they're not overly creamy colour. And then when you shift to the Creme Brulee, that's almost like a coffee colour. But if you saw Creme Brulee in certain settings, it wouldn't look that dark. You see how I put it against the white here? it looks quite dark. Yet if you were to put it in certain settings, it wouldn't look so bright. So it really does make a difference where your colours are going to go. So when you're choosing them, it pays to have a bit of a play. And I will show you how to do that today. And we'll have some fun with that. So that's the base colours, and I'm going to play with some of these and show you what else you can do with them and what I recommend you do if you really want to have a good play with colour and learn a little bit more about colour. Okay, I'll put that aside. Now, what I have is, this is what I keep in my studio. It's just a little book. It's just a notebook. And in that, I make notes, colour notes, when I'm playing, and so I can refer back to it. So this is like a colour recipe book. So it's good to have one of these to refer back to. This is no different than an artist's practice of keeping a sketchbook to play and discover, but this is with colour. So this is what I use when, you know, I want to remember certain colour mixes or finishes that I've done. I'll replicate it into my sketchbook or into this notebook so that I can refer back to it. So I might even like do a stamp in there or just something that I've done. I must remember that client may come back for that, and I need to remember that colour or what I did there, or the process, because sometimes my techniques get quite complex and I need to remember I did this first, then that, then that. So you can do that. Now, in a white book, or this is almost white, it's not quite white. If you can you see that against my art table? You can see it's not quite white. It will look a little different than if you're working on something like this. I'm deliberately working on this toned card so that you can see the colours more correctly. And that's a practice that I learned as an artist. My palette, when I paint on my palette for painting, I use toned palette, and your eye is able to judge the colour a bit more accurately than if you're working on white. Okay, so which you can do by just putting maybe a bit of glass over a toned background. That's an easy way to do it. I'm not using any special brushes, but this one's easy to mix with for you. And in my sketchbook too, and when you do this, it pays to take notes, as in when you paint it, keep a pen on hand and write little notes so you remember what you've done. Okay, so now remember to put in any questions. I'm just going to scroll down because this thing's not moving with you, unfortunately. Okay, so I've got a towel beside me just for my brush. This is my messy palette at the moment. This has got all my little bits of chalk paint because yesterday I was doing the swatches. This is nothing fancy, but a little tip. I'll throw this little bonus in for you today. This is actually a chocolate tray from inside a chocolate box. It's worth, if you want to use something like this, it's cheaper to go and buy yourself a big box of chocolates and use that than to go and buy a little tray. And you get the chocolate with it. How's that sound? Pretty good? Okay, so I've got most of these, the Artisan Color. There's a couple of acrylics in here because I was using it for painting a painting as well, and I popped a couple of acrylics in there. But this is what I'm using, and I will show you from here some recommendations. So when you get these, see these darker colours, these are the brave colours, particularly in furniture painting, the reds, the yellow, the dark greens. These are the brave colours. And you see some amazing works done in these colours. But there's more but a lot of people will turn away from going, oh, that's a bit, it's a bit too green for me, a bit too red, that just won't go in my decor, whatever. But these colours, when you've got them on hand, can be very, very, very helpful. They can be helpful underneath if you're distressing back, particularly the reds. When you distress back and you want to show through what appears to be wood, you can have the reds under there that looks like wood. But mixing, I'll just show you the mixing. I'll start with, wrong one, hang on. I'm going to start with this brighter red colour. It's not a bright red. It's Moulin Rouge by Artisan. I'm just going to paint this on here in a block, and then I'm going to just dip into the white, which is the Arctic white. I'm going to mix it on here, make it quicker. And you'll see, even though Artisan have a very French, almost subdued palette, they've got some poppy colours, but they're not bright. That pink is quite a lovely peony rose pink, and that was made from that one. And if you add more white again and mix it in, you'll see all the beautiful pinks that you can get from it. And I will hold this up so you can get a better look too. And the more, just scrape that off. I'm just leaving my brush dry, just adding just white, because red is quite potent. It tints very quickly. So I'll hold that up so you can see. Whoops, I just dropped something in it. So you can see there the different pinks that you can get out of that red. Right, now watch what I do with it if I add navy to it. Now red in general, red and blue make a purple. But it depends on the blue you use to what kind of, you can get mud if you use the wrong kind. So I'm just scraping, I should have done it the other way, but I'm scraping that in together, and you'll see the amazing, and I actually want to do a piece in this colour, this beautiful deep purple. You see that? Beautiful deep purple. So Fiona's asking for a picture of this. You're talking about this what I'm doing here, a photo of it. I'm happy to organise that. It's like a cheat sheet. So that's a really deep purple. Now, while I've got just that purple on my brush, I'll add some white and take it up. Take it up in tone. Actually, I might do a mid-tone as well. I'll put that there while it's white. While it's wet. I'll add more white here. And then I will just rinse out my brush. So I've got this at the side, guys. Always have plenty of water on you. I change that quite often. And then I'm just going to go in again with the reds here. Little bit of blue, little bit of white. That would almost be an equal part mix. And you get that. Now see how different they are to each other? When you mix up these for a bigger project, play first and then you'll need to kind of measure out. So the easiest way to measure out without wasting a heap of paint is to do like half a teaspoon, like measurements, and mix that and see how many parts this colour is to the other. So you might use equal parts of the Moulin Rouge and the navy, and then like 1 part of each of those, but you might need 3 parts of the white, the Arctic white. So if you mix it on a smaller scale, you won't waste a heap of paint trying to get to the colour that you discovered. So that, you can see that this one's got more red of the red in it. I can see by looking at that, that's more reddish, whereas that is more blue. Now if I show you the beautiful, like Artisan have a lovely lavender already mixed for you. I will get a bit of that and put it beside this. And you'll see how it's different? It's a beautiful greyed lavender, which is much more tricky to mix, so you're best to just buy that. But you see all the variations that I got with just those 2 colours and white. So all the variations, and I could go on more and get a whole lot more variations if I put more of the blue or more of the red in, and depending on how much white I put in, a whole lot of variations. So, you know, if you've got some paint you need to mix, you know, leftover paint, you could have a play with that and experiment with that even. I often, with my leftovers, just throw them all together, just mix them all together and make a whatever colour, and use it as a base or something. But you could just play with that. Just don't mix. I wouldn't recommend you mix chalk paint, you know, a chalked paint with say like Fusion, or, you know, like one of the more acrylic-y paints. I personally wouldn't do that. I would try to keep to the same kinds to mix. You never know what kind of, if you're breaking down the structure of the paint by mixing too many things together. So that's that. And look at all those beautiful colours. How cool is that? Now, before I go any further, I would right now write down what this was. So in your little, if you're using what I said before, if you've just jumped on, I mentioned this little notebook that I put colour recipes in. If at this stage you'd want to write down what you did so you don't forget. So I'm just going to write on here, this was Moulin Rouge. And that was plus navy, so I just put plus navy, and then plus Arctic white. And like I said before, I chose Arctic white for this demonstration, so you could see that I was just using a clear white that wasn't going to add any colour to the colours I was doing. And I just usually put an arrow down back to that, and that is my shorthand for plus more white, just making it lighter. So when you get any colours, or if you've got any colours at home, pop them down on a piece of paper and add some white to it and see all the tonal changes in it, and see what other colours that you can get out of that. Obviously, these 2 colours could be used on a piece and with all that variation, but still work together, because we're still only using 2 colours. We're not just grabbing a colour from, we're not using 4 or 5 pots of different colour. So you get more of a cohesive, harmonious colour blend that works together to the eye if you keep your palette limited and just extend that palette. And as you can see, you can get a huge range from just extending that palette. So this was the Moulin Rouge Passe White, Arctic White, and then back to white. And this one over here was the Lavender Field. I'll just put Lavender Field. Okay, let's do another one. So how's that? Is that helpful, guys? Right, let's do, let's go down the apricot road, or orange, or coral. So same again, if I was to use the Moulin Rouge, the red, and then I added Provincial, which is like a mustard colour, mix that together. And this one I will show you what I mean about when you put it on white. So you see that colour there? If I was to put it on a white, see how different it looks depending on the background. But you can see that is a beautiful deep coral colour. This is the colour that I used. If you go back through my timeline, there's a piece I'm working on at the moment, a piece of furniture that I'm working on at the moment that's done in corals down to greens. I've done some blending with corals down to the greens. This is what I used. It's not finished yet, but you pretty much can see all the blending. Now I'm going to splinter off and just add more yellow here. Provincial is the colour I'm using. If you put it together, I'll put it also here for you to see. That's more of a fleshy colour, less red, obviously, more yellow, but closer to a coral, to an orange coral. So then I'll get the white and add the white. Which gives you a really soft apricot. Against that colour, it looks really light, doesn't it? It looks like a pastel, but if you put it against white, you see it's still got quite a bit of depth. So I'll add more white. This is a ton more white and really only a little bit left in my brush. And I'll put that on here. And we'll get closer to the paper colour, but you can still see that if I was to put that on a bit of artwork, furniture, whatever, and then I was to come along and put white with that that piece. I might actually do it like this too. Where's my little brush? You can see that you'd be able to have some nice contrast on your piece, and that colour would still be not too wishy-washy, because the white against it is still quite a bit of a difference between white. Okay, so this was the Moulin Rouge plus Provincial plus more Provincial, and then plus the Arctic White, all the way to actually Arctic White. Okay. Now, no questions, guys. You're so quiet. So, any colours you want to see me mix? How about I show you with green, and I'll do a little leaf for you. All right, we'll start with olive leaf. No, I won't start with olive leaf. I'll start with a less obvious colour. I will start with this very, very deep green. Which is called, who knows how to pronounce courgette? Is it courgette? Zucchini. Zucchini green. Okay. I'm not saying I do, I'm guessing. All right. So I'm going to use that one. Oh, let's have some fun here. Let's not just do a square this time. It's a rather big brush to be doing this, but still leaf. I'll use my fine brush. Then I will use the Provincial. I'll try and mix it in while it's dry. I wouldn't normally work with this small brush on something so big, but this is for you to see. So that's using a yellow to lighten the green. And I'll use the white. Too much water. White is probably the default most people would go to lighten up things, white. In painting, sometimes it's nicer to use a colour. All right, so that's your white. Now what I could do is go and get a blue instead. Which is prettier than white. And instead of using black, let's get the nil. Instead of using black for shadows, which is very grubby, this is what I see, actually this is what I notice most when I see people painting. using the black, it dulls, it's more inclined to dull your colours. But on the green, because green's made out of blue and yellow, if you use the navy again, okay, instead, it's got far more life. In that colour. It's a bit tricky because I would normally mix this, not on the piece. I'll just do a bit in here. So if I pick up a bit of that green and add the navy to it, a bit more green. And then I'll add more yellow. Using this like a palette now. Yellow to the green. If you get too much, when you're painting, like doing pictures, if you get too much water on your brush, I just keep a napkin to just dab on to take it off, otherwise it floods into your paint. Now guys, this is no masterpiece, I'm just trying to demonstrate when you use colour to lighten. I might even use this beautiful blue here. Oh, which one was that? That's Monaco. Monaco is a beautiful colour to use with navy. And it's one of the colours I used in my big tall boy. For blending, it's beautiful. So this is a green leaf, but I'm adding all these blues in there. And then I'll just go back to the black. I haven't got much black here. It's a bit tricky to use when I haven't poured out much, but and I don't know if you can see that, but see, to me that is much more interesting. All of those colours in that leaf is far more interesting, brighter, and has more life than here using the white and the black to paint that leaf only. When you combine colours and see what colours do, you can more easily default to using colour more rather than using the black or the white to lighten or darken. Now I've shown you here and recommended that you do use white to play out your colour, to see what it looks like when it's add white, because you actually get to understand better what's in it. Is it more pinkish? Is it more green or blue? And you get to understand that colour far more by doing that. And it gives you options to use nice clean colour like that. When you get practiced at this, when you're mixing up here, you kind of innately know what to add and what's going to get muddy or what's going to be bright and beautiful. So yeah, so that is a few tips on colour mixing, colour discovery, and stretching your palette further than what it is. So by all means, start with a really good variable range. By variable, I mean a range that will give you all the elements that you can mix just about anything else with. and that's what I'm showing you here. Artisan definitely has a beautiful variable range. They don't have excessive colours in there. There's enough shift in the blues, enough shift in the different colours to give you variation without, you know, things being overly close to each other. So there could be more colours coming in. That's, you know, but this range is still has everything really. I'm quite satisfied with this range. It's really lovely. So if you do want a swatch set like I just showed you, they'll be up on my website soon. They'll be good for you to have, and I've painted them kind of one side so that you can experiment on the back. So you could kind of do something like this on the back of the stick, have the main colour on there, and then you could put a few recipes on the back if you wanted to as well. So I will double check to see if there's any questions. So quickly, if you've got any questions, quickly add them. And let's see now. So yeah, so Fiona asked about having a picture. I will scan this and make it available. I'll make available. I'll work out how to best deliver that, but I will do that. That's a good idea, Fiona. And yep, I can't see any questions at all. So thanks for watching, and I will do some more lives. The one thing I didn't mention was when you've got this too, if you do a longer swatch in your, see with this, if you do a long enough swatch, you can come back and try finishes over the top of it. So you could try a wash, maybe some different wax finishes on it to see how they interact and engage with the colour as well. So you can add those recipes on top if you do these big enough. So there's pages where I've just done really big like say if you were to do a big long strip like that, you can, that's a colour that I mix specifically for a client, but so there's nothing on it, but you could use a base colour and overlay a wax, you know, dark wax or black wax or white wax, and see what it does to that colour too, and make all those notes as well. Okay, that was fun. I hope that broke up your day if you're in isolation. I just hope that blessed you and inspired you to play with colour more and yeah, see what you can do. God bless, and I will see you next time. Don't forget to share, and yeah, I'll see you later. Bye.